Get me that signal. We need more power.
Welcome to the voice of entertainment for the everyday geek. I am your host, Elliot Miller. I spent this past weekend at the Anime Central convention here in Chicago, and I really had a great time. I'll have lots of good stuff from the convention, and some of it's already been posted, so make sure to check it out. If you want to see some of the pictures of the incredible costumes, which that's what anime conventions are all about, because everything was just all costumes and cosplay stuff, and it was just unbelievable, even more so than C2E2. Then check out the Voice of E Facebook page, or you can also see them on Pinterest or Twitter, and I try to post like 2 a day, spread them out. But this week in board game news, we've got a bunch of news from Stronghold Games. First off, pre-orders for 2 new games begins, depending on when you're watching this, on Monday, May 20th. And the first game is Voluspa, and I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that correctly. There is an umlaut over the O, and I can never remember how that sounds. Anyway, in the game Voluspa, the players play tiles with 12 different characters and creatures of Norse mythology, using the power of these tiles to block, capture, or intimidate in order to control other tiles and to score points. The player who scores the most points by dominating other tiles wins the game. Voluspa is an easy-to-learn tile-laying game with great depth. And remember, with great depth comes great responsibility. It is a reimagining and retheming of the highly regarded game Kachina. Voluspa includes the expansion module Saga of Edda, which offers even more strategic opportunities and replayability. The pre-order is 30% lower than the retail price, so if you're interested in this game, now is actually the time to order. It's probably a good time to brush up on your Norse mythology with the upcoming release of Thor 2 this fall anyway. You know what I'm saying? The other game up for pre-order is Vampire Empire 588-2300. In a foreboding castle somewhere in Central Europe, a strange fear has descended upon the inhabitants. One morning, the body of a young girl was found, as pale as a sheet of paper, dry and totally drained of blood. Vampires are on the prowl. Who is the monster who murders innocents during the night? Before the truth will be discovered, more than one person may face unjust accusations thrown out by the devious servants of darkness. Will the vampires be successfully caught before they endanger the entire society, or will the castle and city fall forever into darkness? 3 characters in the castle are vampires. A human investigator is trying to determine which 3 of 9, as opposed to 7 of 9, characters he encounters. In fact, monsters hiding in human form so that he can eliminate them, or something like that. The head vampire, on the other hand, must bluff cleverly, present confusing clues, and trick the humans into attacking innocent citizens. Just like in that movie with Kiefer Sutherland, where they had the head vampire, and it turned out to be the woman's Lost Boys. There you go. But I'm guessing it's probably not in California. Kill the most important characters in the city or conquer the castle. Vampire Empire is a 2-player card game with a lot of bluffing and player interaction. In this very thematic setting, each player possesses a unique deck of cards granting different powers, and each player had different goals to win the game. Stronghold will have these 2 games available in time for Origins, along with Time and Space. Time and Space is for 3 to 4 players and plays in exactly 30 minutes. This production management pick-up and deliver game provides each player with 2 one-minute sand timers, which players use to move their starships, produce, and deliver goods. The real-time action management of the timers makes this a truly unique game. Stronghold has other summer releases planned in time for Gen Con, including Revolver 1.3 Vengeance on the Frontier, the 3rd expansion for Revolver 1. It introduces the Frontier deck, from which both players can buy cards with coin tokens earned during the game. The expansion also elaborates on the new winning condition added for McReady in Revolver 1.2, Hunt the Man Down. Revolver 1.4, The Tarnished Star, is the fourth expansion for Revolver. It adds a duel at Rattlesnake Creek and the possibility that the imprisoned Santiago has a hidden weapon. The expansion comes with the new red poker chips, and it also adds new cards to the Frontier deck introduced in 1.3. And Revolver 1.5, Death Rides a Horse, is the fifth expansion for Revolver 1. It focuses on additional cards to customize the McReady and Colty decks, a new ambush card, plus more red poker chips and several unique tokens. And Space Cadets Dice Duel, the team versus team real-time dice rolling game of starship combat. Divides players into two teams, each playing the crew of a starship, with a mission to destroy the opponent's ship. The game is played completely in real time and features plastic starship miniatures and 50 dice, most of which are custom engraven dice. Space Cadets Dice Duels is a standalone game, not an expansion. So it's a summer at the Stronghold, and it all began May 20th. The newest game on Kickstarter is Guardians Chronicles from Iello Games. Guardians Chronicles is an epic semi-cooperative board game of superheroes and villains, in which 4 brave heroes of the Liberty Patrol try to stop the dark schemes of one of their worst enemies, the evil Professor Sarkov. While one player plays the villain safely retreated in his lair, the other players have to cooperate if they want to enter his base and evade all his minions and traps. Only by joining their forces will they succeed in stopping Professor Sarkov's madness. Yes, that's what I'm saying. So Guardian Chronicles provides an intense, immersive game experience thanks to its abundant material, including miniatures of heroes, villains, and minions, and the simple yet comprehensive game system. The rules focused on bringing life to the superhero in each player, by making them work as a team and combine together their own unique superpowers in order to defeat evil in several different scenarios. Guardian Chronicles is intended to be the first of a series of games telling the adventures of the Liberty Patrol against ever darker threats and enemies. To play the game, the player playing Sarkov creates his base by arranging 9 double-sided game board tiles into a 3x3 grid, with his control room being in the center. Each player takes his character sheet, miniature, and 7 to 10 action cards. These characters enter the grid on one of the side tiles and need to move around the square facing minions and traps along the way in order to achieve whatever objective set for the current game, such as thwarting a nuclear missile attack. Each turn, each hero player plays 1 or 2 action cards, and each card can be played either as a special power or modifiers for the hero's basic features: movement, attack, defense, and mental. So, that's what I'm talking about. The villain player receives a number of action points depending on the hero's actions, and uses these to activate Professor Sarkov, his minions, or his robots, with these figures also performing move, attack, or special power actions. As the players complete objectives, the newspapers report on who did what, and the sum of those reports determines who comes out on top. Depending on the scenario, the players must achieve a certain number of objectives to attain victory, while the evil Professor Sarkov attempts to thwart their efforts. Guardians Chronicles is running on Kickstarter now and will end June 18th. Also, if you haven't had a chance to see Iello's King of Tokyo on tabletop, make sure to check it out. The episode was just released on the Geek and Sundry channel last week. Now, Wizards of the Coast has announced 2 exciting new features coming to Magic 2014 Duels of the Planeswalkers: Sealed Play and a new take on the popular Slivers creature type will both make their debut in the Duels of the Planeswalkers franchise with Magic 2014. The addition of Sealed Play will allow players to open booster packs and build decks to play against the AI and other players. Each sealed pool is comprised of 84 cards, mimicking paper TCG booster packs. The PvE experience includes a 6-deck ladder where players take on mono-colored sealed decks, each corresponding with a particular planeswalker, and finally facing a boss sealed deck. Another feature debuting in Magic 2014 is a new take on the popular Slivers creature type. A fan favorite, new playable Slivers in Magic 2014 decks will include the following: Sliver Construct, Predatory Sliver, Groundshaker Sliver, Megantic Sliver, the Blur Sliver, the Striking Sliver, the Thorncaster Sliver, the Battle Sliver, the Sentinel Sliver, the Boneside Sliver. In addition, Hive Stirrings, a sorcery that creates sliver tokens, will also be included in Magic 2014. Wizards has also just released D&D 2nd Edition AD&D Core Rulebooks Premium. Yes, the premium reprints have been released. For many gamers, the 2nd Edition Advanced D&D Core Rulebooks were their introduction to the role-playing game hobby. Now players can celebrate those dungeon storming campaigns with a special set of premium editions released by Wizards of the Coast today, as of this recording. The AD&D 2nd Edition Player's Handbook, Monsters Manual, and Dungeon Master Handbook, each sold separately, contain all of the original content and art that fans will remember, but each rulebook has a new cover design to commemorate the reprint. The MSRP for each book in the set is $49.95, and additional information can be found at DungeonsandDragons.com. And finally, it's time for my incredible Magic the Gathering Discovery Series, in which I open up a couple of booster packs and uncover the mysterious rare cards hidden within, so I can share this experience with those watching who don't do this themselves. I just realized I have my reading glasses around my neck. Yeah, that's great. These latest packs are from Dragon's Maze, the final set in Magic the Gathering's Return to Ravnica block. Let's get right to it. Okay, this time we'll do this more quickly. Ooh. Profit and loss. Interesting. Possibility Storm. Dun dun. Cost 5 to cast. Whenever a player casts a spell from his or her hand, that player exiles it, then exiles cards from the top of his or her library until he or she exiles a card that shares a card type with it. That player may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Then he or she puts all cards exiled with Possibility Storm on the bottom of his or her library in a random order. Ooh, sneaky. This is very interesting. Here we go. Here it is. Boros Battleshaper. A 5/5 monster. At the beginning of each combat, up to one target creature attacks or blocks this combat if able, and up to one target creature can't attack or block this combat. Cost 7 to cast. Interesting. Ooh, a shiny foil card. Ooh, look at it, it's shiny. You see the shiny? Ooh, I love shiny foil cards. And finally, pack 3. Let's find the rare card. We don't have time to look at them all. People are clicking off the internet as we speak. It's the golden card. Ah. Ooh, it's a sorcery. Obsidat's Aid. Return target permanent card from the graveyard to the battlefield. Interesting. Very interesting. Ooh, land. It's a land gate. And it's common. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Here's a new instant, and it's uncommon. Does 4 damage to target creature or player, and you gain 4 life. Oh, nice. Okay, that's all of them. Thanks for watching. And now, back to the show. That's all the board game news for this week. Stay tuned for more news, board game reviews, comics, entertainment, and much, much more. Thanks for watching The Voice of E, entertainment for the everyday geek. I'm your host, Elliot Miller, and until next time, keep your mind free.
Get me that signal. We need more power.